Aloha and welcome everyone to Java. It's Wednesday and this is for August 30th, 2023. Thank you very kindly for joining me, everybody. So, we've got a couple of lava updates at the end, but for right now, we are watching our main risk indicator for the markets. Still in high territory, but it came down tremendously yesterday. We're at the 266.8 level, as you can see currently, and we are watching the dollar strength, which recovered quite a bit actually, as well as the 10-year yield. So yields came down yesterday because we had some news on the jobs, as well as a couple of things that happened with the cryptocurrencies ETF grayscale that gave the markets quite the boost yesterday. And the reason the terrible jobs report did this is because now the market is expecting that the Federal Reserve will not be as likely to hike rates since things are coming down. These are the numbers that they're looking at. So, with that, today we've got more numbers coming from ADP employment, and we've got which afterwards, the job numbers that they had out last time were revised. I don't know how anyone can believe these numbers, but it's what the Federal Reserve is using as an excuse. So, as we can see here, we are getting the GDP revision, trade balance goods, retail, and we're also getting pending home sales. So this is for July. It's lagging, and I expect those again to still be on the low side, but we'll see how their language frames it, whether it's as expected or how that comes in, because that can actually be more important than the actual numbers themselves. So, on the oil and energy front, and a little bit more, this is also with the war front. We've got Gabon. So Gabon has staged a coup. Their military now has taken over, very similar to Niger, and for the same reason. So they're stating that they are supporting their people. Basically, are starving, and all of their resources are being used. They're under the rule of France, basically. So France is benefiting from all of their resources, and so they put in place the presidents and they select who is going to be there, even though they say there are elections. So they basically just claim that all of those are no. The military has taken control, and as you can see, coupled with this story is that there is risk in oil price spike because we've also still got OPEC cutting. So I wanted to put that together because we know that oil prices will continue to inflate and cause more inflation in the general markets as well. So our stories with the banks, this was the other one that gave the markets boost yesterday, is the grayscale Bitcoin ETFs. They are the largest Bitcoin ETF that is up for consideration. And the court, there wasn't a lot of movement on it, but rather that the court ruled that the SEC must reconsider them. So that alone was enough to send Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies higher, even though they're still below that critical 30,000 level that I think they need to get above and hold before we can call it a long run. So it's about 27 and a half right now. We're in a range between 25 and 30,000 for Bitcoin. We've also got that the dollar stabilized because this JOLTS data and ADP coming in. So everybody's basically has nothing to do with companies or the real economy anymore. It's only whether the Federal Reserve is going to hike, and people want to gamble more by putting their money into riskier assets. So in real estate, we've got mortgages remaining 23-year high. Now, this argument is that buyers are adjusting to higher rates, but I'm arguing that they're not adjusting because they're not refinancing, and a lot of them are coming up with adjustable rate mortgages in the next year or so on their 5 and 7 years. And currently, the rates are at 7.31% on average. So they're holding back, hoping they will drop, but pretty soon they'll be forced to readjust their rates. And we've also got the student loans coming due. So everything together is kind of providing a whirlwind that I expect to probably kind of start coming together around the end of October, if not before. So on the labor and retail side, we've got the job openings having their issues. So no work is going down. And then we've got the stories for poor Americans on the lower end, tapping debt, meaning using their credit cards, borrowing against their houses, uh, borrowing money, anything they can do, and they're buying less food. So they're showing more people, higher numbers at food banks, and less in the grocery stores. This is a real trouble. We've got the European version over the German bellwether, also saying that it's very similar conditions. Inflation increasing, and people are having a hard time affording their grocery bills. So, and we do expect more inflation in food for certain food, gas, energy, and supposed to have a very cold winter. We'll see how things go. Okay, so now for the lava updates. This one, can't laugh at it, but it's just so ironic. A Chicago TV crew is going to report on how crime has been increasing tremendously and it's driving out larger companies. So, for instance, Ken Griffin has taken out Citadel because crime has increased over 54% since 2019. They've relocated to Miami as well as other large companies. For instance, the head of McDonald's Corp and CME Group. There's a couple of others. So while they were there, there's no story because three armed robbers took their cameras along with the footage that they took at gunpoint. And by the way, guns are illegal in Chicago, so not sure how that happened. Anyway, a couple more stories I want to bring up before I let you go. Huawei is the Chinese cell phone manufacturer, and they have been kind of working in the background. The United States banned them, and there was a big deal with the CEO and the corruption. And basically, we've been kind of trying to hold them back. They are implementing 5G, which is the new technology. And there is a lot more we will probably be bringing up about that. But for now, we'll just say that they are coming out with basically competition with their phone and using that 5G capability with chips that they're able to manufacture themselves. And so this is creating a big headwind and a drop in price for competitors such as Apple. So watching that, it is a Chinese company. And also, so they're starting to bring up more of these stories, more and more I'm seeing. And I expect there to be more floods because they will use this. They're keeping it in the wings if they need another crisis going to hit. We've got Disease X. And I just want to remind everybody Disease X does not yet exist. They're using this as a placeholder for what they expect to be the next pandemic. They have no idea if it's going to be a bacteria, a virus, or a mushroom spore, but yet they're working on something to jab you with and inject you with that will fight this, that they don't even know. So I just want to say one other thing. We've got more things coming out. I don't have a direct story with it, but to increase reasons to collect your biometric information. And it's a bad idea to give that away because you could never get it back. And the worst persons to have this is, in my opinion, the government. So if it's anything to do with the palm scan, iris scan, your DNA, or anything of the sort, you may want to think twice before you allow them to have that information and tie it in because you can never take it back once they have it. And personal information, you are for sale. So, with that, we're going to have a wonderful day. We can all get around this. I'm going to keep you on the edge before things happen, if I possibly can. So, with that, I wish you all a green trading day, a just wonderful day in general. Thank you so much for joining me. Until I see you again, my friends, stay free.